Which Nintendo villains are the most evil? Which are kind of just a little bit annoying? It's time to find out from the evilest to the most evil. Let's rank the Nintendo villains.
Starting with the least evil and working our way down to the most vile.
First up, we have someone who stole the paper from the front of my house after a paper round this morning.
That are honestly more heroic than villainous, but still
the evil villain of an Earthbound game.
Spot here. Our first Nintendo villain goes to the sword wielder, Meta Knight. First introduced back in Kirby's.
He's the least bad guy? Well, to be fair, I don't think Meta Knight does anything bad, does he? He really doesn't do anything.
This mysterious swordsman seems to be content being in the shadows. By giving him some rare candy, he can sometimes send his own minions after him to attack Kirby before fighting him himself, but not before offering him a sword for a fair fight.
Is Meta Knight's main deal that
to help him
he just wants to fight strong people, doesn't he? He's called on by King Dededy to help him hide a Star Rod. I think he's like Goku. He's like a slightly more dickish Goku. He's like Vegeta. He's the Vegeta of the Kirby region.
Future games expand upon his role as being a protector of Dreamland. So, why are we counting him as a villain?
He's like an anti-hero.
Aside from fighting Kirby a number of times, which could be pointed towards just trying to test Kirby, he does have two villainy attempts. In one of these two, in Revenge of Meta Knight, the Knight wishes to conquer Dreamworld in order to stop them from being so lazy, being so willing to kill.
Oh my god! He's like, yo, Dreamworld's too fat, bro! Let's get him on some treadmills! Let's go!
He stands in his way while his own ship goes down. In the other, in Kirby Fighters 2,
I actually think that makes him a hero. He just wanted to make them physically fit, that's all. That's all he wanted.
King Dededy to kill Kirby, to prove that they're stronger than him.
Okay, I think murder is a little bit far. I think that's kind of, maybe a little bit crimey.
Him being the villain is more the exception than the rule. He's been more than willing to jump to the aid of Dreamland, and is the most noble and least evil of these villains. Next up, with our silver medal of the least vile Nintendo villain,
makes sense.
We have our other Dreamland villain, King Dededy. When we first meet him, he was stealing all the food in Dreamland, forcing Kirby to go after him and stop him. The next time we meet him,
he was stealing all the food when he's a king. Does he not have enough already?
Things get a bit more interesting. We see him break the Star Rod from the Dreamland fountain, but he has a good intention: to seal up Nightmare, the threat that Dreamland was facing. From there,
so he's a good king. Just kidding, there are no good kings.
He sort of took a backseat as other villains came to cause havoc on Dreamland, mainly
you can't be a good king.
Possessed or kidnapped in some way. Once he breaks free, he's willing to help out the others, like with defeating Zero 2 in Kirby 64, or in Kirby Triple Deluxe by teaming up with Kirby to stop Queen Sectonia. Of course, the Queen still has his fair share of vile roles, like with the previously mentioned Kirby Fighters 2, or with King Dededy's Revenge, with him going
a little murder
on Kirby to settle their rivalry. While he's a far cry from the villain he once was, he still isn't completely heroic, like a certain swordsman, so we can't place
He's not heroic at all!
In comparison to other characters though, he's truly a hero, even if his claim to the throne is questionable. Next up, we have
his claim to the throne is questionable, like we're gonna go down the monarchy in succession of Kirby's dream world.
Anti-Mario, Wario. Now, for someone who was made to be an evil version of Mario,
okay, Wario is just like kind of a dick. He's like the kind of person that you go down to the pub and you're like, oh, they're here now.
Certainly
not much of an actual villain. He does try to steal stuff though, like he does a little bit of thievery.
And castle, and keeping it for himself. After this introduction, he became popular enough to get a spin-off series, Wario Land, where he's an adventurer looking for money, and maybe sometimes saving the day by rescuing someone. His main obsession, however, is money, and doesn't really care if he saves a princess, even tossing them aside if they stand in his way of the gold.
Wait, so you're telling me he doesn't care about the women? He doesn't care about the women. He was only trying to acquire the currency.
Extends to his
he does not care for ladies.
Here, he's the owner of a micro game business in Diamond City. And listen,
oh no, he's the most evil type of villain, a capitalist.
His friends to create these small, quick games for him.
Why is he on the down so low on the list?
Their hard-earned money for himself. That said, he still seems to think of them as friends, more than willing to party with them and join them for a night of bowling. And the others seem to like him as well, expressing a desire to invite Wario to their parties. Plus, as stated before, he ends up saving the day a couple of times, so we really can't fault him too much. While not as heroic as the hero he's based on, he's still capable of being a good person. Just don't get money involved. Next up, we have one of the many villainous
He's just a little money grubber.
Pokemon. Team Rocket. All right, if we ranked
Okay, the full Team Rocket? We're talking like from Giovanni to Jesse and James? Because that's a wide variety of morality.
Pokemon organization and all the individual members in them, this list would definitely be bigger than it already is. But let us know if we should do that in the future. For now though, let's just focus on the most—
They should do that because there's definitely a wide spectrum of evality. You've got football hooligans right at the bottom, and then at the other end you have dimension-destroying monsters.
classic group, Team Rocket. This evil crime syndicate is after Pokemon, stealing them and selling them on the black market. They're also prone to using the Pokemon for themselves to further their own goals. The most—
Okay, so let's look at the crimes. We need to log the actual crimes. We've got like thievery, we have animal abuse, animal thievery, black market
notable
selling.
members
Pretty
of
sure
this
that's illegal too.
organization are Giovanni, the most serious and cruel of the bunch,
Attempted
and his
murder,
three most
murder of
recurring
Pokemon,
henchmen, Jesse,
supreme
James,
animal
and
abuse.
Meowth. They're mostly known for their anime portrayals, but they were so popular they made their way into the games. While the
Public
Team Rocket
indecency?
organization has expanded past their original debut, Jesse, James, and Meowth have only made appearances in Pokemon
What else have they
Yellow,
done?
the Let's Go games, and Pokemon Masters. As bad as they are, they're probably the least threatening of the evil organizations. And
Ooh,
while
breach of the peace because they use massive robots to attack cities every now and
they
then.
can be competent,
Impersonating
they're pretty
police?
easy to overcome,
True.
allowing them to squeeze in with a relatively low spot. From animal kidnapping to regular kidnapping, we have the Plasm Wraith. Pikmin really doesn't have many real villains, so trying to pick an
Is that
overarching threat from here is a bit tricky. However, the Plasm Wraith managed to be such a threat. This mysterious and sentient primordial ooze is the final boss of Pikmin 3, and unlike the previous two games and their final bosses, had a bit of a build-up to him, with him kidnapping Olimar and taking the space captain all for himself. That said, he doesn't seem intent on harming the defenseless captain.
Isn't Olimar kind of like the bad guy for just landing on a random planet in the space and immediately using the locals for his own personal gain?
Save for making him sleep by forcing Olimar
Is Olimar a colonizer?
to make him sleep. The team rescues Olimar. However, to them, he's happy with damaging and hurting, putting him above others. With his fascination and care for
Random
Olimar,
planet, it's Earth?
we
Oh, okay, never mind. I'm sorry, I've never played
in
Pikmin.
the end. The Koopa family makes their debut with the son, Bowser Jr., coming up first. Introduced in Super Mario
Is Olimar
Sunshine,
British?
he's Bowser's son, who just wants to make his father happy. After being told about how Bowser keeps losing to Mario, they
Is his crimes really worse than Team Rocket's though? Like, we just listed a bunch of Team Rocket's crimes. I know Bowser does a little bit of kidnapping, but that's, I mean, he kind of holds an island hostage. Is that, I mean, that's kind of bad,
young
right?
Prince wants to bring Mario to his knees by framing him
Oh, wait, he's a terrorist. No, that's
for
pretty bad.
Isle Delfino and kidnapping Princess Peach.
So I came here to rescue.
He is trying to control the local population through fear.
He was Bowser's second
That is
in
terrorism.
command, never being that far away from his father when they faced Mario. Bowser Jr. had his own side adventures, from finding his paper self and befriending him to
He
leading the
kidnaps a princess, but monarchy sucks, so he's actually the good guy.
Koopalings against Fallful's minions of the best fitness friends in Bowser Jr.'s journey. As a child, he's prideful and arrogant. However, through the course of the adventure, Bowser Jr. starts to develop a thoughtful and caring side for his siblings, the Koopalings. He also states that he doesn't care about what his papa does.
Who's Bowser Jr.'s
just that he
mom?
wants to help
It's
him.
Peach.
In the
What
end,
you're listening to?
while still a villain and capable of dealing some damage, we can't be too harsh towards someone with this much blind obedience towards his father. And like son,
Yeah.
like father, Bowser steps up
Bowser's just above Bowser Jr.? What?
to the plate. Perhaps Nintendo's
Didn't
most
Bowser try to,
well-known
like,
feat,
genocide a
Bowser
galaxy?
made his name known
What?
by his constant kidnapping of Princess Peach, with Mario always being
Let's list the crimes. Attacking a person, assault, kidnapping, and galaxy-wide genocide.
to stop him. Throughout the years since
Didn't
the
he try and, like,
original
blow up
Super
with Mario
Brothers,
Galaxy?
Bowser has always picked himself up and is ready time and time again to succeed in his goals. From kidnapping the princess, taking
Also,
over the
Bowser's a
entire
terrorist,
castle,
too.
or forcing her to marry him, the giant turtle doesn't give up. However, he isn't all that bad. He seems to at least be in love with Peach, and he just has a bad way of showing. He also has a great deal of respect.
It's not all that bad. He has a bad way of showing it. Yeah, I think that kidnapping is a bad way of showing your love to
and
someone.
admiration for his son, and is more than willing to fight against anyone that harms him. And of course, he's also willing to throw down against other invaders of the Mushroom Kingdom, like Fallful. He's even willing to take a break from villainy to join Mario and friends in a round of golf, kart racing, or even a party.
What is this whitewashing of Bowser here. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, he does like all these bad things, but he stops to play a round of golf, and if I can get a beer with him, then he can't really be that bad, could he?
He's a classic villain. There are still other villains that are definitely more vile than him.
Let's forget about the trying to murder Mario.
The Bowser of Donkey Kong, King K. Rool comes aboard. This crocodile has taken a liking to Donkey Kong's banana stash, stealing it from him under the cover of night in the first game. So, what makes him more despicable than the other villains so far? Well, he keeps upping the ante every game. The next time around, he kidnaps Donkey Kong as revenge, leaving Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong to team up to save him. After that,
what is it with all the kidnapping?
Decides to kidnap Donkey Kong again, this time kidnapping Diddy Kong as well.
That's
Even
funny.
After all of that, he still gets worse, deciding to blow up Donkey Kong's island home. He doesn't get the chance to, thankfully, but with just how
Oh, wait,
he
why am I
keeps
laughing at that? It's not
escalating
funny.
his antics to beat the Kongs, it's easy to call King K. Rool the more evil one between him and Bowser. Coming up is the fresh and rude DJ Octavia.
Wait, we looked at the Splatoon lore. We reacted to the Splatoon lore, and while, yes, he did a little bit of slavery, it's because he was downtrodden on by the people above him who sentenced his entire species to live in the sewers, which is very racist. So, like, he's only responding to a threat from above.
Their friendship ended when they both ended up on opposite sides of the Great Turf War, losing and having to hide underground as the leader of the Octarians.
Yes, the slavery is bad,
The Octopus
but it was only a
does
little
his
bit.
best to ensure that the Inklings are wiped out. He does this by kidnapping the Great Zapfish, the source of the Inklings' power for their home, Inkpopolis. The training he puts his citizens through is just as vile, if not more so. From birth, he uses his music to help brainwash the Octarians into serving him. He can also use his powers to brainwash others, like Callie, into being his second in command. For all his evil, he does—
Yes, that is bad. I do agree that that's very bad, but that never would have been in that situation if they just didn't have them in this prison
at
underground.
least seem interested in the Great Zapfish, due to it being the reason that he can keep the underground running, saving his own civilization. However, he's still dooming one civilization to save his own, so we can't be too generous here, and thus are still ranking him this high. Up next, we have the first of our two Metroid villains, Mother Brain. Originally just a
Ridley's just
time
straight up
commander
evil,
that
isn't
helped
it?
The Chozo race, she ended up becoming more and more insane after she lost her last child. In her rage,
Wait, a
ends up
computer? Is she a
letting the space
computer or a
pirates
brain?
raid Zebes and use her powers to take over the army. As the leader of the space pirates, she seeks to bring the entire galaxy under her rule. Only to get
Okay,
stopped
yeah,
by
that's pretty
Samus
bad.
time and time again. With her deteriorated mental state, she believes that the universe would be better off with her ruling it.
Well, I mean, we don't know, like, what's her policies? Would the universe be better with her ruling it? Does she want universal healthcare? I mean, I would love some universal dental. I'm gonna go for a checkup tomorrow, and I think it would be better if that was government
She at
funded.
least
So
claims to be
what's her
trying to
opinions
bring
on that?
true order
I know she's a brain and she doesn't have teeth, but, like, the subjects will have teeth, so it's gonna be an important
to the
subject. We need to
universe.
talk about
It's
that.
just that her methods are dangerous. She also tries to recruit Samus to her cause. Even if she didn't care for Mother Brain, she's still arrogant, not liking how Grey Voice calls her out for her crimes. She also doesn't see much value
Stop
in her
calling me
own
out.
troops, preferring to
What
let
about
her
education?
Metroids
Yes.
feast on them. She's dangerous and definitely not worth underestimating. From the first Metroid villain, here is our first Kid Icarus villain, Medusa. She seeks to take over
Medusa.
Palutina's domain in the Sky World. Originally, that is just what she was, a villain who seeks to take over the afterlife. However, Uprising reveals some interesting details about her life. First,
Tell me.
she was once just as benevolent as Palutina. However,
Okay.
she grew hatred towards the mortals, believing that they only call for her and Palutina whenever they are in need.
Probably
making her
true.
believe that humans are ungrateful.
They are. I'm sorry, I'm not understanding. What's the problem here?
She revolted against the humans
True?
by turning them to stone and destroying their crops.
No, never mind. I get it. That does seem to be a
She's
problem.
more or less employed by Hades at this point, with him bringing her back to life over and over again. And finally, she did end up playing a major role in stopping Hades, even saving Pit from him
Okay.
and punching Hades' head off, claiming she's done being his puppet.
Okay, redemption arc, good.
While she certainly is a villain, she has been righteous at one point, and did help Pit and Palutina in stopping Hades. So we do have to rank her not too high up.
Oh, is she dead? Oh, okay. I was gonna say, well, she has a redemption arc, so maybe we can get her in now. You know, maybe put her on like a lesser committee. Maybe make her like vice president of heaven or
Next,
whatever.
we have the most
Guess not,
iconic
she's dead.
Zelda villain, Ganondorf.
Yeah, he's
Ganondorf is
bad.
the
He's just
wielder
straight
of the
bad.
Triforce of Power.
I like to be a person that goes against the grain and, you know, maybe argues against the prevailing narrative, but no, he's kind of a cunt, to be honest.
This Gerudo was born into a colony of desert people. Seeking power, he ended up going after the Triforce to use its power to conquer the land.
Ganondorf
However,
is a
thanks to how
boring
impure
villain.
his
I'm gonna be the
heart
one to
was,
say it.
It ended up splitting as he got stuck with the Triforce of Power, using its might to
I think the overall story behind Zelda is pretty interesting, with the cursing Zelda, Link, and Ganon to do the same thing over and over again in an infinite loop that none of them remember. I think that's really cool. Ganon themselves is boring, though. They're just like, I'm the bad guy. And then that's kind of
against Hyrule.
the king of evil,
unlike
yeah.
the Link
Why are you evil? I don't know. I just like doing evil. I'm just evil to be evil. I have no goals apart from to be evil. Like, if I take over the world, I'm just gonna sit and do, I guess, just do evil. Everyone will be dead, so I guess I'll just be bored. But that's the goal. That's the end goal for this. Is just to sit in evil land.
Ganon never changes. In Skyward Sword, canonically the first game in the series, Link and Zelda were cursed by demise, as he died that a being made from his own hatred will haunt them throughout all of time. That creation
That's cool.
being Ganon. Throughout all the games, Ganon's goal of conquering the fields of Hyrule have remained the same. However, some games did give him other motives for this. His Wind Waker version had him envy the land of Hyrule as he lived in a desert, and he was literally made to be a curse to haunt Link and Zelda throughout the rest of time, without any say in the matter. Not only that, but in his recent incarnation of Breath of the Wild, he's a mindless being of pure hate, who can't even control himself at this point.
I like how the video is arguing for like, come on guys, he can't control himself. Like, it's not his fault.
While definitely evil, he was kind of always destined to be that evil, with no real hope for redemption.
That is
Prepare
quite
to have
sad.
Fury, as Fawful
It's
is
quite a
next.
sad
This
result.
fan-favorite
The hell is this?
Started as Cacoletta's assistant in Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. However,
You telling me this guy's more evil than Ganon?
even
What?
then, he was plotting for something greater, creating his own robotic army. He would use his master's death as an excuse to bring forth his true goal. Taking a break and partners in time to gather resources, he would
I
gain
thought that was his true goal. His true goal to have a normal work-life balance.
beans from Baby Mario and
No!
Baby Luigi to fund his expenses
In our
for
society, in this economy, no.
taking over the Mushroom Kingdom. Spreading a disease called the Blorbs, which inflates and immobilizes toads, he would tempt Bowser, after his latest defeat, to consume a shroom that can inhale everyone inside of Peach's castle, leaving him
He's just a
free
drug
to
dealer.
exact his plan. He ends up taking the Dark Star and fusing with it, becoming powerful enough to take over the Mushroom Kingdom, had it not been for Bowser, Mario, and Luigi. With a power and skill set deceiving enough to rise up from being a second in command to a true threat, he definitely deserves to be recognized as one of Mario's most dangerous foes. For our most
I still think he's
evil
not as
Mario's
evil as
universe,
Ganon.
It has to be King Boo. The
What?
overarching threat
Boo?
in Luigi's Mansion series. His goal in life was originally to just kidnap and trap Mario in a painting. Only
Yeah, I was gonna say that it wasn't really that big of a deal, to be fair. He just wanted to trap a guy in a painting, which, you know, it's not really poggers, but it's not the most evil
Luigi
thing.
any attention after he gets so close to saving Mario. At first, he seemed to care about his troops, calling the Boos his friends, and even saving one of his most powerful troops, Bulasis. From then on, however, he started to view the younger brother as his most serious threat. Thanks to constantly being vacuumed by him, he destroys the Dark Moon to cause the Nice Ghost to go crazy and fight against Egad and Luigi. To his once friends, he decides to experiment on them and no longer cares about getting wrapped up in revenge. He gets so angry towards Luigi that he ends up activating a ghost portal that could destroy the entire universe just for a chance of finally killing Luigi.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Like, the universe is quite big, and there's a lot of folk in them. Don't think your personal grudge is worth that, to be
Fight
honest.
continues in the next game.
That's quite- yes, not
Luigi
ideal.
is after he kidnaps Mario, Peach, and the Toads.
Come on! You can't follow up. He was going to blow up the entire universe with the next sentence being, he also laughed at Luigi when he was scared, and that's very mean.
Growing angry at Helen Gravely, despite her being the reason he escaped Egad, and renouncing his own forces as useless. From a petty grudge against Mario, growing into a hatred against Luigi, stopping at absolutely nothing to kill him, he's done a real good job earning his title as the most evil being in the Mario universe.
Okay, the Mario universe is pretty tame. Like, apart from the universe busting thing, like, that's pretty
For a
serious.
threat truly out of this world, we have Gigas. He was raised by a human mother named Maria and her husband George. However, after George fled to Earth after studying about the aliens' PSI ability, Gigas was tasked with the job of betraying his family and killing them to keep the knowledge of their PSI safe so they could attack Earth. However, he still has a great deal of love and respect for Maria, offering to spare her great-grandson, Nenten, and backing off after hearing Nenten and his friends sing a lullaby that Maria used to sing to her. During his next attack, he wasn't as forgiving, but there was a reason for this, as thanks to just how much power he absorbed, he essentially became mindless and doesn't even know about what he's doing anymore. In the words of Porky Mensch, he's an almighty idiot. So while we're definitely—
Dude, I didn't know Earthbound lore was so insane until I reacted to the one video that tells you about Porky, the guy who's stuck in the totally safe, never gonna be hurt pod for all eternity, even as the universe dies and blips out of existence. He will always be in that pod and never be able to leave or do anything.
But with just how he ends up being
That's a
and his love
terrible
for his
result.
parents, there is some doubt to just how evil he really is. For our bloodied bronze reward, we have Ridley. If we were counting
Ridley is just a
manga,
monster.
Ridley would have definitely taken the gold.
Oh, it can talk?
Samus's parents, faking sympathy to lull the kid Samus into a false sense of security before trying to kill her, and mocking Samus upon seeing
What
her
is Ridley's
later,
goal?
while telling her how he ate her parents. That's just pure evil. But even without that, Ridley is still a
Ridley
menacing
is
force.
intelligent.
Originally just another monster under Mother Brain's command, he became a threatening leader of the space pirates, traveling the galaxy and causing as much destruction and death as possible. He causes
just likes spilling
galactic-wide
blood?
destruction and misery for no other reason.
He's
because
violently
he can,
insane?
including
Oh, he's the
complete
Joker.
Destruction of Samus's
He's the Joker
home
of
colony, K2L,
the Samus world.
bringing the Chozo to extinction. He's
Oh,
as
no.
evil as you would expect someone with the title Cunning God of Death. The only reason he isn't any higher is that in his actual games, he's mostly just a villain for Samus to destroy, and his heinous actions are kept off-screen or in logs. That said, no one should underestimate
Omega
how vile
Ridley?
the space dragon can be. He's a true monster and true threat. Up next, we have Andross. Originally just another
hell is
brilliant scientist for
Andross?
Corneria, he has been a controversial figure with his
Why is he
extreme
reminding me of
experiments.
Galactus?
Thanks to his most dangerous experiment, destroying the city,
Is that Master
he ends
Hand?
up getting arrested, being sent to Venom as punishment. Due to how prideful he was, he never owned up to his mistakes and still believes that he's in the right. Spending his time here, he creates an army powerful enough to wage war on the Lilat system. With his acquired powers, he has managed to not only threaten Corneria's way of life, but has destroyed several planets and created several
Dude,
dangerous
Star
weapons
Fox
to
lore is
help
kind
him
of
on his
insane. I never
quest.
knew it was like
the
that.
only real positive we can say about him is that he cares about his grandson, Dash. Seeing him even as Andross himself was a ghost.
He cares about his grandson. Oh, what a good guy. That's so nice of him.
He seems proud of Dash for managing to beat the Monarch Dodora. That said, that's the only nice thing we can say. He's a horrible monster that plagues the Lilac.
Wait a minute. How does he have a grandson when he's just a floating head? Does he have a dick attached to like, his neck or something?
For Nintendo's most vile villain, there's only
Okay,
one.
wait, which villain has not been chosen yet? I don't know, which one is it gonna be? Let me know in the comment section below, what is the most vile villain? I don't know. 3, 2, 1, let's find out.
Who can earn this title? And that is Hades. Now, there are plenty
Hades?
of other Hades throughout
Oh, from the
fiction, but
Angel
this one
thingy
seems to
games.
enjoy being evil more than the others. In fact, out of all the villains here, he seems to enjoy being a villain the most of all, and has the powers to back up his boast. He's powerful enough to actively harm the entire universe.
Yeah, he
wants
is a
to see the
god of
destruction
hell.
all human souls and claim them for his realm to fuel his army. He views others as just a means to amuse him, not even
Yeah,
caring for
dude,
his
he is
own
very charismatic though. He's kind of hot.
actively viewing them as inferior.
He's got a
and
big
dumb.
smile.
He
At least he's happy. Yeah, he seems to be really enjoying being evil.
hates having his rule questioned, and even killed Medusa for fighting back against him. Of course, he can interfere.
Look at him, he's
with
like charging up a
smaller
Kamehameha.
villains just to amuse himself. Even when helping others defeat Aurum, he still decides to stop Pit by bringing forth Mimicuties, and even halting Pit from getting a lightning
Mimicus?
chariot. It doesn't matter how big or small a conflict can be. If he can make someone's life a bit more miserable, he'll gladly.
All right, if he just enjoys being evil and he also is the god of being evil, then that's pretty bad. That's pretty evil. And he seems to enjoy it more than Ganon does. So he's having a good time. He's taking pleasure in the suffering of others, which I don't really think Ganon takes pleasure in it as much. He just kind of sees it as something he has to do. So that makes sense. Well, let me know who you think the most evil Nintendo character is in the comment section below. And make sure you subscribe to more patterrz because we're almost at 100,000 subscribers. What are you doing not being subscribed, you idiots?